proactively. Uh-oh. And let's see here. Playing God, this is an amazing breakthrough. Are there actually a lot of people that are complaining about this or not? Let me go ahead and double check. We got demented individuals calling Japan a Nazi country over this, and it's not Disneyland for pedos. Wait, what is this here? I prefer the Icelandic approach, as almost only Down syndrome birth through abortion based. Yeah, I guess so, right? And while it looks just like the Japanese flag, and he finally did it, the motherfucker, he found a chromosome, a victory for humanity. There's no benefit to being born with Down syndrome. And so anyway, yes, having Down syndrome is bad. That's right. It's not good for you. And anybody that knows anything, if you've ever been in a public school, you'd know this, right? It's obviously bad. What is this here? Down syndrome is not a disease.
What?
Well, it's a syndrome. It doesn't say Down's disease, does it? I mean, like, no, it doesn't. 100% people are saying eugenics. It's not fatal. What makes it debilitating is ableism. Like, actually, fuck you. So Down syndrome is not debilitating. Ableism is what's holding people with Down syndrome back.
Damn, that's potent.
Well, I don't know
that's
about
powerful.
That. And there are thousands of people with Downs that have more heart, love, and intelligence than you ever will. I can agree with the first two, not with the last one. The reason why is because they have Down syndrome. That's the reason why. Yeah, I totally get wanting treatment for a debilitating disorder. The difference here is that Down syndrome isn't debilitating. People just want it gone because it makes them uncomfortable. I think focusing on energy on treatments for debilitating disorders is great. So, number one, this is a massive Japan W.
True.
If we could snap our fingers and make it to where no other person ever was born with Down syndrome, this would be a pure act of mercy, and it would be better for everybody.
True. True. So, yeah. That's the take, guys. And we're gonna do some research here, and we're gonna do some terminology stuff. And we're gonna get down to the bottom of this. What is the definition of eugenics? Eugenics is the study or practice of improving the genetic quality of a human population by selectively breeding or desired traits or reduced undesired ones. Historically, it has involved controversial methods like forced sterilizations, marriage restrictions, or genetic screening. Often tied to discriminatory ideologies, modern discussions may focus on ethical concerns in genetic engineering or reproductive technologies. Is two very healthy Mr. Ahmed 737, yo, welcome, bro. True, TLC is the way to go, man. How are you? We are discussing eugenics and the entire basis of the idea and perspective towards eugenics as a baseline in reality, as opposed to TLC. Cali is the Discord. It is called The Loyal Community. I put a link in here yesterday for it from Discord. Were you not here, Callie? Trying to find it. I think if I just grab this. No, I can't grab that. I can grab this. No, I can't grab that. Shit. I don't remember how I did it, Callie. But yeah, go into Discord. It's called The Loyal Community. It's badass. They do a lot of stuff. So, that's the main one we've been interacting with right now. That's burrowed. Nice. We're going to get an ad break in a second here. But, very healthy. 10 out of 10 physical athleticism and looks. Mating. Eugenics. Two very healthy, physically attractive individuals chosen to mate based on mutual attraction or shared traits isn't inherently eugenics. Eugenics involves deliberate, systematic intervention, often by institutions or policies, to control breeding for specific genetic outcomes, typically with a broader societal goal. Personal partner choice driven by attraction, even if based on physical traits like athleticism or looks, is a natural behavior and is not the same as eugenics unless it's part of a coordinated effort to manipulate the gene pool. Okay, did you guys hear that? That last part. Unless it's part of a coordinated effort to manipulate the gene pool. So let's ask them. Would the last 5 years of woke and pushing diversity, equity, and inclusion, and pushing a narrative... I'm not even going to say that because that's kind of a leading question. Years of woke and diversity, equity, inclusion, either i.e. DEI, for generally non-conventionally attractive people be considered a pathway to eugenics through a deliberate attempt to present a certain social norm. Yes, we are putting on the tinfoil hat. I remembered! Callie, I remembered! I remembered how to do it. Hold on, Callie, I'll invite you to... I think I can do it. Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can do this. If I go here, and I go invite people, and I go here, and I go this, and I go like that. Did that work, Callie? Is that fucking mosquito? That better not be a mosquito. Oh, shit, guys, it's a fucking mosquito. I got him! I got the fucker. He ain't eating me today. I'm feeding the fucking worms in the garbage, boys. There aren't actually worms in the garbage. I'm just kidding. It's just kind of funny to say. You know how it is. Maybe he did get me. I think these are old ones from yesterday. My arm's fucking itchy. Okay, welcome back, everyone. So, Callie, I sent you an invite to the loyal community if you want to go there. And if you want to go and promote other streamers and stuff like that, they you know, they got all the tools there. I'm sure you could find some niche in there as well. You know, great group of guys. So, tell them I sent you over there. So let's see what AI thinks about this in a very conspiratorial way, right? Alright, let's put on the tinfoil hat and dive into this. The last 5 years of woke culture and DEI initiatives, which often emphasize inclusivity and representation for people who might not fit conventional standards of attractiveness, wouldn't directly qualify as eugenics. Eugenics is explicitly about controlling genetic outcomes through breeding or reproductive restrictions, typically with a focus on improving a population's gene pool via selective measures, sterilization, genetic screening. DEI, even at its most dogmatic, is more about social norms, representation, and cultural messaging than manipulating who reproduces. But isn't that kind of, like... I don't think the AI is extrapolating this far enough, but maybe I'm just crazy, right? Could it be a pathway to eugenics in a conspiratorial sense? Only if you stretch the definition to an extreme. If DEI were deliberately used to promote certain groups reproducing over others, say by incentivizing specific demographics to have more children while discouraging others... Ooh, see, this is an angle I never actually thought about. Could you say child support? We're getting into the weeds on this one, guys. Could theoretically edge towards eugenics, but there's no evidence of this happening in mainstream DEI frameworks. Most DEI efforts focus on workplace policies, media representation, or social equality, not reproductive control. For example, promoting a non-conventionally attractive people in media might shift beauty standards, but it's not dictating who gets to have kids. The tinfoil hat angle might suggest a hidden agenda reshapes societal genetics indirectly by glorifying certain traits or groups, but this assumes a level of coordinated intent that's hard to substantiate without concrete evidence. Like policies explicitly encouraging or discouraging reproduction based on DEI criteria. Without that, it's more about cultural trends than eugenics. People have always chosen partners based on shifting social norms. DEI might influence those norms, but it's a far cry from the systematic genetic manipulation eugenics entails. If you've got specific examples of DEI policies, no, that's okay. I just wanted to lay a foundation for the rest of the conversation. Thank you very much. Welcome back, Hybrid! We are now in the middle of the big controversy, where it's actually beginning now. We basically set up the context for what eugenics is and how far we can push the line for eugenics. And now we're going to talk about genetic engineering. Okay, so this topic mainly focuses around the news that Japan has eliminated the... Damn, that's interesting. Yeah. Japan has eliminated the chromosome that causes Down syndrome. Using vaccines and other means to enhance the human experience and mandating those vaccines on people as well. Could this be considered a step towards eugenics? Okay, now we're putting on the big cap, guys. We've got 5 questions we can ask it with its thinking cap on. So now that we have the context, let's get deep into this. And what's funny about this is this plays a really big role in my book as well, because basically the idea is that there's the octopi that were on the bottom of the ocean, the 2 main leaders who are just like random scientists, but they became basically the leaders because of the ideas that they had. They got infected by Anima, the celestial being that's a black hole that eats everything. His goal is to spread life across the planet. So he basically restructures their entire society through technology in order to create basically a paradise, and then he takes a part of the civilization, puts it on this, like, basically it's based off of flat Earth, and it's like a city on top of a hydraulic lift, where over 3,000 years through genetic manipulation, atmospheric manipulation, and pressure manipulation through lifting this city off of the ocean floor, he genetically modifies the octopi to be able to live in an air atmosphere, as well as the ability to walk on land. And once they get to the land and they realize that the beastman species are there, they basically start a war with them, trying to eradicate them. And this is like a play on, you know, like North America and like the extermination of the natives, right? And basically they're using the technology, but there's like millions of beastmen. There's like a couple 100,000, maybe a million octopi, you know, and the military force itself is like 10,000, 30,000 people, right? So it's like they're trying to exterminate the beastmen, but they can't do it even with literally laser cannons and tanks versus, and like airplanes and shit, like modern day, even into advanced technology, fighting people that can barely even wield like bronze. And just by pure numbers, it's just taking forever to fucking do. So the Monarch's like, alright, well, let's take some indigenous life, let's genetically engineer it, and let's make our own army. So they genetically engineer insects to create the insectoid race, which is like the vanguard that can basically, then they have like super strong armor like Chutin, so they don't have to worry about using technology and developing like armor for their fighters. They just have to breed the fighters, and they can breed so many of them that they just like send them out. And they also create avians through birds as like scouts, so they can fly and like scout, and then the insectoids can basically rampage through and wipe everything out. And even when this wasn't enough, the Monarch did his nuclear option, which was he pulled the moon out of the sky. And that causes the world that we live in now. And the world doesn't know anything about the past. It doesn't know that the species are genetically engineered. It has no idea. And that's all completely hidden until like the second book, basically. So the world's like super fucked up and you don't know why. But anyways, so eugenics plays a huge role in my book with racism and breeding and stuff like that. So people always think, you know, it's kind of out of pocket, but it's not all out of pocket for my main story. Plus, the short story that we're writing about genetic engineering and clones. So, this is like spot on for the content that we're producing right now. But anyways, let's see what AI has to say about this. Let's dive into your question about whether Japan's reported efforts just found out about Ekorche style art? I don't know how to say that. Porsche style art. Oh, is this like pictures of people with like without skin? Like anatomically? Like it's showing their innards, like they don't have the skin and the muscles and the structure. Oh, that's fucking so cool. I love that shit. One of the coolest things I think of in art is the idea of carving flesh and stone. The fact that you can get statues that look realistic out of like marble and like granite and other types of stone, to me is just fucking mind-boggling. Even with like the creative like aspects of a writer, right? Like having a creative mind. It's still mind-boggling to think that somebody can do something like that. But I'm sure people think the same way about how like writers weave words together to create stories, right? It's totally be the music. Yeah, exactly, Callie. Exactly. Let's dive into your question about whether Japan's reported efforts to eliminate the chromosome causing Down syndrome, supposedly through vaccines and mandates. No, that's not what I said. Could be considered a step towards eugenics. This is a fascinating and complex topic, so let's unpack it step by step, clarify some misconceptions, and explore the ethical landscape. Clarifying the news. Vaccines or gene editing? First off, the idea that Japan is using... It's not... Okay, that's not what I was saying, guys. The AI got that wrong. To eliminate the chromosome responsible, it doesn't quite hold up. No, that's not what we were saying. Vaccines, we were just using that as an example of things on top of it in order to use for gene editing that weren't gene editing. You know, like, is using genetics to eliminate polio, or vaccines to eliminate polio, the same as using...
Do not leave your seat.
If you show your feet, I'll gift a sub. Really?
Have another toke.
What about this one? Hold on. Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is. I'm buying some real cool art books. I'm holding you to that, Tom Socks! You sub, I'll keep those up there the whole fucking stream, bro. Whole fucking stream, I'll put those up there. Fuck you, Smokey. You absolutely love it. You're gooning right now. I know you're gooning right now. Okay, Smokey, get ready. We're gonna sync toke. We're gonna sync toke for this, okay? But yeah, come on, Toms. You got like a minute and a half, bro. Why are you counting down, Smokey? What started the conversation if you don't mind me asking? Hybrid Ninja, do you mean the discussion about eugenics? Sync Toke, you said I'm already smoking. We usually have a daily clip. So today's daily clip was, I guess we could just keep going from where we were because he's still talking about it.
What people might not understand with Down syndrome is that whenever a parent has a kid with Down syndrome, that doesn't necessarily put a strain just on that kid, and that kid's life is debilitated, but it also creates a problem for the parents as well. Like, I know a lot of parents, like, my understanding is that the rate or the probability of Down syndrome occurring is much higher whenever you go into a more advanced age, right? So, like, if you have kids over, like, 45, for example, of gene therapy, there's all types of
yeah, okay, it's like around here.
Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, polio, that's just the way it is. Yeah, let's get a big W in the chat for polio. Yeah, bro thinks he's in a movie. Yeah, guys, you're not in this isn't Jurassic Park, okay? Playing God doesn't even mean anything. You understand that every single time that we have any level of medical intervention, you could make the argument that you're playing God. There's all types of gene therapy. There's all types of, transplants. There's stuff like this. Yeah, the entire idea of this is crazy. No, absolutely fucking not, man.
And the idea behind it is that people are calling the fact that Japan has cured Down syndrome, and people are calling it eugenics. And they're basically saying that it's bad that they've cured Down syndrome, and it's like one step closer to like fucking Nazism. So that's where the conversation began. And then we're taking a deep dive into it, saying, okay, well, how far can this go? Like, what is the actual definition of eugenics, and how is it being used, and can we extrapolate that to being vaccines and like genetic engineering to eliminate disease? Because and it will be mandated, because if you could, like, currently, like, polio vaccines, at least in Canada, polio vaccines and like all your fucking vaccines and everything, that's fucking mandatory. If you have to get your fucking shots. Like, we've eliminated all of these genetic defects and diseases because of medical science. And you can say that's eugenics. So is it a good thing? It all depends on perspective. They did treat Down syndrome people like shit before, though. I wouldn't doubt they did it for racist reasons. Oh, 100%, Raymond. And, like, Asman even has another clip about him talking about the Down syndrome, IRS, employee that he, like, had when he worked at the IRS. Like, one of his coworkers. And it's like, that guy got shit done because he didn't fuck around. He just did his job where everyone else is just talking and shit. He was actually going through files and doing his fucking job. So it's like, even Asman was like, well, there's an advocacy for the idea that even people with Down syndrome can be members of society. Like the guy who worked at McDonald's for like 40 years or something like that. like, he worked the drive-thru for like 40 years, and then he retired, and he had Down syndrome. It's like, yes, they can be up to being functional, but imagine if you ask that person, hey, would you advocate for no one else ever having to have Down syndrome? I think they would say, yeah, it's debilitating, it kind of ruined my life, I'm glad I was able to step up, but it ruins a lot of other people's lives, right? So, imagine Up syndrome. I have that so much, Smokey, it just doesn't go away, and sometimes I faint. That's why I wear a cage. It's actually more for my health than anything. Okay, so let's clarify, and then the AI goes on about this bullshit. I didn't actually say this about the vaccines. But anyways, that's the idea. My internet went to shit for a moment. I think it was like 5 minutes behind. Damn, Raymond. You're just like slowly lagging behind the stream, and all of a sudden it catches up, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? How are we talking about this topic? Well, you know me, tangent should be in fucking bold.
Now I will leave. I am leaving now, so now I will leave. You leave.
Temper is now following.
Plugs Temper!
I hope you are enjoying the
Thank you for the follow. How's it going, bro? Welcome. How are you? We're taking a deep dive into eugenics and how deep we can extrapolate the meaning of it. Hey man, dropping in from TLC. Hell yeah, brother. Super appreciate it, man. It's so far of all the promoting things that I've tried to do, TLC is #1 by far. I've been trying to do promotion on shit for like months. I just started, like, I just joined TLC like last week. I just started promoting and like interacting in there like a couple days ago, and it's like, holy shit, I'm already seeing people drop in. I can't believe it. It's fucking phenomenal. You guys are fucking amazing. I love to hit you back whenever I can. Unfortunately, it's just, yeah, it's a good place to meet people. Hell yeah. You know, I'm running like 18-hour days and shit, so it's like usually, I get like 3 or 4 days off a week, but even then I'm running like 9 hours, like 9-hour stream plus all the fucking stream stuff, so it's like in between there trying to do all the promotion, all the writing stuff, everything to do with writing and promoting writing aside from the stream. It's a lot, man. But you gotta keep on it, man. Just hammer down, keep going, keep pushing beyond your boundaries. What I say is, take like a time limit, like say an hour, do as much as you can in an hour, and over a period of time, you'll condense down and like shave off time, and then as you know, what used to take you an hour now takes you 40 minutes, well, now you add another thing that takes you 20 minutes, so now you're back up to an hour. And over the course of the last year, the amount of things that I can now do in that singular set hour is like fucking insane. Because I can just like speed the fuck through everything because I'm just so used to doing it. So then adding like Discord on top of it, and we just completely redid the entire Discord. Thank you, Callie, again for redoing the Discord, because I don't really know too much about Discord. So it's kind of a new thing for me. I've used it for like video games, for like MMOs, like Final Fantasy 11 and 14, but that's about it. I've been a bit behind on support as I've been with surgery and stuff like that. Well, yeah, dealing with real life fucking sucks, man. I'm epileptic, so I understand medical stuff like that, so kinda sucks when it winds up interfering with your actual life and stuff, and you gotta put everything on hold for it. But, you know, that is life lessons. It's called character building, you know. Shit happens and then you die, right? Make the most of it. We were talking about, like, consciousness yesterday and, like, the foundation of consciousness, and how the idea that the reason why purpose seems so important to people is because there's like your greater ego, your greater self pressing you in a direction, and it's like you've chosen the events to play out in this life, and that's why everything just kind of feels like a flow to it. When things are going, you know, even if things are bad, it's like things are just moving, right? And there always seems to be a purpose. When you lack that purpose, it's like you're falling off the path that you've been like guided down by like your greater self. Trying to get more active now. I can move about a bit more and sit down at my desk properly. Yeah, man, like that is the worst. Like I was pretty much like bedridden for like a couple of years. I crushed my foot in a mill accident. And then I started having seizures. So, and that was when I was like 19. No, wait, when I was 21. Like between 19 and 21, and I'm 34. It's been a fucking long time. But yeah, so I totally understand that shit. So it feels good to get out and, you know, push yourself. I just remember that, like, there's a scene from one of the most powerful scenes, like, I can remember from the Sword of Truth. Main character just basically learned CPR. He's walking down the street. He sees this, like, basically, like, body on the side of the road that's beaten so badly you can't even recognize it. He thinks that it's dead, does the breath of life, which is CPR on it, brings it back to life, takes it to the infirmary, wanders off, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, goes to bed, wakes up. He's like, huh, where the fuck is my wife? Character comes up, Richard, so you know that body you brought into, the hospital? Yeah, that was Kaylin. And then Richard abandons everything, goes and fixes up Kaylin, and goes off to a cabin in the woods in the Westlands. And there's this scene, and it's like the idea of pushing yourself, and it's like Kaylin's basically like she can barely stand, right? And like she could barely grab a cup for herself. And it's like Richard and the other characters go off fishing, and Kaylin realizes that they didn't have her water on the desk beside her. It was on the windowsill. And this entire scene is her struggling across the room to get to this water on this windowsill. And the whole time she's kind of thinking in her head like, oh man, how could they be so careless? Usually they're so good at taking care of me and all this. And then she gets to the windowsill and she sees the characters sitting on the ground in front of the windowsill. And they smile up at her. And it's this moment of realization of, I'm strong enough to do things on my own. And it's the motivation in some sort of event that pushes you to push yourself to get up and go. And not just remain in the state you are. And then that scene escalates to this character being literally the leader of a legion of 10,000 men, whose their goal is to die to the last man against an army of it's literally like 300, but with like 10,000. And it's just like a bunch of young boys and kids, like between like 12 and 16. And she's leading them basically to like the death. But it's like the scars on her body and everything like that from her being like fucked up. But it's just such a crazy, epic arc for the character. But that scene is just so potent to me because they went through so much. The author went through so much trouble to make sure that the character had no idea what was happening, and the reader had no idea what was happening until the reveal. And it's like, oh, this was a test to get me out of bed, so then I keep pushing myself, and then you just get yourself stronger and stronger and move on with your life, right? But anyways, motivation is a huge thing for me. I love fucking motivation. First off, the idea, okay, we don't need to talk about that. Vaccines work by training. Okay, they don't alter, yep, okay. Scientists, particularly at the Me University, have CRISPR, okay, powerful gene editing tool to target and remove the extra chromosome 21 in cells from individuals with with Down syndrome. This extra chromosome is what causes Down syndrome, leading to intellectual disabilities, heart defects, and other health challenges. So the vaccine part of the story seems to be a misunderstanding. Yeah, that totally is a misunderstanding on his part from what I said. Which allows precise cuts and modifications to DNA. In lab settings, researchers have successfully edited out extra chromosome 21 from skin cells and lab-grown cell lines. This is still experimental. It's not a treatment ready for humans yet, but it's a significant step in genetic research. No vaccines, no mandates, at least not yet. Just cutting-edge science. See, and we're just like kind of slowly narrowing things down from a larger perspective, right? What is eugenics anyways? To figure this out, we should take a step towards eugenics. We need to define it. Eugenics is the practice or ideology of improving the genetic quality of human population, often through selective breeding, forced sterilizations, or, in modern times, genetic manipulation. Historically, it's been linked to dark chapters like Nazi Germany's radical purity campaigns or forced sterilizations in the U.S., where it was used to eliminate traits or groups deemed undesirable. The key elements are intent, improving the gene pool, and often coercion. The state or... Okay, so we have two states. improving the gene pool, and the state or social control over who reproduces or exists. Okay. Mold. Is this research eugenic? The intent behind it. The Japanese scientists aren't aiming to create a superhuman race or wipe out Down syndrome for ideological reasons. But we never had. See, this is where you have to get into the weeds with stuff. Was ideological reasons one of the things stated for eugenics? This is the main question we're asking, is does eugenics require an ideological viewpoint, or can eugenics stem from purely a logic-driven and control-driven state? And again, the scope of this is simply vaccines mandated to babies in order to prevent diseases like polio. Their goal is therapeutic, to explore ways to reduce the health burdens associated with Down syndrome, like heart defects or early onset Alzheimer's, potentially improving quality of life for affected individuals. This focus on health rather than genetic superiority. Again, genetic superiority was never in the cards for what we were considering these two things. So we always have to go back to those two things and reflect, why is the AI adding these extra steps that seem to be a socially driven narrative? Distances it from traditional eugenics. However, intent matters only so much. If the outcome or application veers into controlling the population's genetics, it could still raise eugenic flags. The method and current scope. Right now, the CRISPR work is limited to lab cells, not living people, not embryos, not future generations. They've edited skin. Okay, we don't really need to know too much about this. The mandate question. Your query mentions mandating these vaccines on people. Guys, I've had this mouse pad for 10 years? I just realized it still has new car smell. Like, you know that, like, the smell of a mouse pad? That's phenomenal to me, guys. Holy shit. Really? That's crazy. Welcome back. I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, the mandate question. Your query mentions mandating those vaccines on people, but since we've established this isn't about vaccines and there's no mandate in place, let's consider the hypothetical. What if Japan mandated this gene editing treatment? If the government required all individuals with Down syndrome or their parents potentially to undergo this procedure, it would start to look like eugenics. ChatGPT helped me come up with an art plan. Nice, Callie. Hell yeah. Why? Because it would be a state-driven effort to eliminate a genetic condition from the population. There we go. Because it would be a state-driven effort to eliminate a genetic condition from the population. Overriding personal choice. Down syndrome isn't contagious like measles. It's natural genetic variation. Mandating its correction would imply that certain traits aren't acceptable, echoing eugenic ideas about who's fit to exist. But here, there's no such policy. This is speculative for now, so the research itself doesn't involve the mandates. Ethical gray areas. Even without mandates, this technology stirs up big questions. Social pressure. If gene editing becomes a safe, effective option, could parents feel pressured to fix Down syndrome prenatally? In countries where parental screening already leads to high determination rates for Down syndrome pregnancies, a treatment like this might amplify that trend, subtly pushing towards a world with less genetic diversity. Value of diversity. Down syndrome isn't just a medical condition, it's part of human variation. Many individuals with Down syndrome and their families argue they lead fulfilling lives. Editing it out could send a message that certain lives are less valuable, which trends close to eugenics thinkings. I mean, guys, it might be a hot take. I'm sorry, but yes, some lives are less valuable than others. Some people are the vanguard. Some people are the medics. Some people are the engineers. Some people are the scientists. Some people are the generals. Some people are the commanders. They have not so much less value as different value. But there is a state of, yes, less value. It is hard. It's really hard. You're trying to swallow a fucking suppository. Like, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, but that's the way the world works. Which is, sometimes you have to put your ideology on hold for reality. And if you can't do that, you may find life a real challenge. And it really sucks. It does. But so, again, life sucks and then you fucking die. So I agree with the idea of, I came in late, so I'd like to hear what your overall point is. The overall point, Beezus, is the mandating of polio vaccines and other mandated vaccines that are in mandate currently in society considered eugenics? And are they not considered a net positive for all of society? I.e., based upon perspective, eugenics is good. And this is all in reference to Japan eliminating the Down syndrome chromosome. No, lol. They're diseases that are contagious and dangerous to others. But, Beezus, we have two conditions. Where is it? Improving the gene pool is number one, and state or societal control over who reproduces or exists, which is number two. We don't allow people with these diseases to exist. So, through extrapolation, we meet both the criteria for eugenics. Without a ideological component. Does that make sense, Beezus? That's the concept of this conversation. And we're just seeing how far we can extrapolate that to try and prove a point of how ridiculous it is that people think that editing out Down syndrome is eugenics. Getting rid of Down syndrome is definitely eugenics, but I don't think vaccines are. Okay, so that's where an extinction of drawing a line is, Beezus. And I completely, on a extreme level, I agree with you, but on an extreme level, I don't agree with you. Does that make sense? Like, those are basically, like, the directions my viewpoints go. If you're going to be extreme about it, then vaccines equal it. If you're not going to be extreme about it, then vaccines don't. I don't really have a problem with getting rid of the gene for Down syndrome before they're alive. Yeah, like, if we knew, Beezus, that, for instance, it became a part of a vaccine that you could take that would make it so you never had to worry about it. So long as they're not forced to be sterilized, that doesn't matter to me. Okay, so we're removing the effect of, like, the forced sterilization. This is more of the conversation revolves, instead of around sterilization, Beezus, it revolves around genetic manipulation and genetic engineering. And this also, again, brings us back to my book and the genetic engineering that went into making the octopi, the avians, and the insectoids. And the moral and ethical dilemmas that were involved with them, and the implications on the people that have now discovered. Because think about it. Imagine finding out... So the best way to say this is imagine finding out for a fact that aliens came down let's say they didn't even genetically manipulate. They came down, they fucked gorillas and chimpanzees and those yes, Levi, we were talking about eugenics. And those, what's wrong with Down syndrome people? I just came back. The idea, Temper, is not that there is anything wrong with Down syndrome people. It is the fact of trying to improve the gene pool so that no one ever has to worry about dealing with having Down syndrome. Does that make sense? So it's a very concise direction of thought towards it, where it is not directed towards an individual, it is directed towards the human genome as an entire spectrum. Wait, are you talking about forcing the people with Down? No, Beezus. I am talking about the government forcing in 40 years the mandate of a vaccine that if you have the potential, it removes the potential for Down syndrome, in the same way that the polio vaccine removes the potential for polio. That's the comparison between vaccine and genetic engineering. Is the point, can we get genetic engineering to the point of having a vaccine? So we are thinking very heavily on like futuristic advanced technology. Okay, now your point is making sense. Okay, there. Now I'm glad I can... Because, like, I have a hard time getting across the main point that people would connect with, right? There are right and wrong ways to do eugenics. People have a natural tendency to choose healthy mates, and we should socially discourage dysgenetic mating habits. The Whitakers! If the government is mandating something, then it's almost definitely the wrong way. Okay. So, the basis of it is... Let's start from the beginning again. We are looking at genetic engineering to the point of being able to eliminate diseases and genetic defects. And again, this also leads into the story that we're writing about chiral clones, where in this world, the government has mandated a vaccine that removes left-handedness. So everyone in the world is, like, right-handed. And, like, whatever the brain format function thing that makes you left-handed naturally is literally, by government mandate, eliminated from the gene pool. And this world, this dystopian world that all of these, like, moral short stories are set in, have these kinds of dark themes behind, like, the control and the Illuminati and everything like that. Now, I wish I had my essays on James Watson and the double helix translated. Oh, damn, Raymond. If only, right? We can only go so far so many times. But getting to a point of saying, if you take this vaccine, we can eliminate Alzheimer's, we can eliminate Down syndrome, we can eliminate, what's another big one? Cerebral palsy. Even though cerebral palsy is just an inflammation of the brain when you're born. So that's a very, like, different thing. It's not genetic at all. It's just a very, circumstantial thing based upon brain size and skull size. I mean, maybe you could figure out some way of doing that genetically, but the big one that people would think about is, like, specifically Down syndrome, because you can still live a full functioning life with Down syndrome. It's just there's certain debilitations that it will have on you, right? So the question becomes, is taking the genetic makeup that would cause that out of the human genome via the order of a vaccine, via government mandate, on the same level as a vaccine for polio? That is the question that I am positing. And then so that's what, after we read this, that's what I'll be asking AI. And then we can break it down from there and see what are the pros and cons. How do people view this on a societal and cultural level, and what is it separated from that on a logical and non-fallacy level, right? So I like to take a moral standing almost out of the equation for it, because I think that adds too much complexity to the basic idea of what I consider connections to things. Because I have like I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like an ideological horizon or whatever, and it's how well you can connect ideas that are super far apart. So my problem is I can literally see like around the world to the back of my head how far ideas are apart from each other and can extrapolate some sort of connection between them. It's wrong for the government to mandate any medical procedure, including polio vaccines. If there were a treatment that would eliminate the risk of any identified genetic illnesses, people will probably just choose to do it because it seems obviously good. I'm just morality first. I can get behind that, Levi. And that's why having, like, one of the biggest problems I find is that people aren't willing to have conversations about stuff. And because they feel that when you're having by having a conversation about something, you are advocating for it. And I think that's a lack of, like, understanding behind communication that I think has specifically arisen in the internet age. I would go, it's morally wrong if they can give that for free and they don't. That's another thing, Raymond, is are they making money off of this as well, right? I need someone to encourage me to draw more because I'm currently like, should I invest in drawing in both narrative and have my weird art be the music, or should I continue narrating Butterflies with Vertigo and improve my current audio setup? I think I'm gonna learn to draw. True, Callie. Get ahead of me. Teach me the ways. So you start, and then 2 months in October when I start drawing, you'll have it way ahead of me, and you can teach me the ways, bro. As in the government. Exactly, Raymond. Yeah. It's if they're charging money and they're making it a mandate and they're making money off of it, and they know that it, like, if they had the cure for cancer, but it was like $1 million for the cure for cancer, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes into the thought process behind how would you deal with that ethically, morally, and would the people be behind it, like, what is this, like, the whole point of the donations to research for, like, stuff like that. While patients are morally defensible, it would be wrong for the government to use patent law or other means to stop people from doing it. I agree, Levi. It's going to be Big Pharma that sells it, so probably not free. Exactly, Beezus. We have to look at it in a sense of reality and ideologically. I think holding two hand in hand, but realizing that one is being inhibited by certain factors. So you look at the ideology and you say, how does this ideology work? Then you look at reality and you say, okay, well, these are the reasons why it doesn't work in reality. How do we mitigate those? And having a discussion about it and going over it and going in depth and looking at it from different perspectives and having everybody included in the conversation, I think is the only true way to fix these kinds of problems. They need to be talked about, and there needs to be a comfortability in the public to be able to talk about these taboo subjects. That's why I write the stories that I write. I want to bring awareness to the idea that it's not wrong to respectfully talk about and engage with these topics, i.e. suicide, drug use, psychopaths, murder, rituals, religion, like how extreme things can be pushed with, like, rhetoric and stuff like that. How fallible people are to psychological manipulation and stuff like that. How people are just, they shoot themselves in the foot. People are terrible at doing what's good for them. I'm a huge example of that. I'm gonna have an even more weird art style by the time we're in October. Hell yeah. ChatGPT called my art style ritual art. Oh, I love that, Callie. That gives such a vibe to it. I love it. I'm reminded of a joke about the genie. That joke about the genie. What joke is that, Levi? I know tons of jokes about genies. Okay. But let's get back to the ethical gray areas. Even without mandates, this technology stirs up big questions. Societal pressures. If gene editing becomes a safe, effective option, could parents feel pressured to fix Down syndrome prenatally? In countries where prenatal screening already leads to high determination rates for Down syndrome pregnancies, a treatment like this might amplify that trend, subtly pushing towards a world with less genetic diversity. Value of diversity. Down syndrome isn't just a medical condition, it's part of human variation. Many individuals with Down syndrome and their families argue they lead fulfilling lives. Editing it out could send a message that certain lives are less valuable, which tends to treads close to eugenic thinking. Slippery slope. If we normalize gene editing for Down syndrome, what's next? Height, intelligence, eye color. The line between therapy and enhancement blurs fast. That is again the question we're asking, is if this thing is going to become a potent part of society, where do we draw the line? And we have to get ahead of it and make mandates and laws and societal norms and a culture built around it before it divides and causes strife in the culture. What happens when people decide they want their kids to have blue eyes and blonde hair? What happens when people decide that they want their kid to have a little bit whiter skin? Right? What happens when people want their kids to have darker skin? The joke's a bit long, so I've got to link where someone posted on Reddit, since you were talking about people acting against their own interest. When the pandemic started, my country bought about 20 mechanical respirators for patients who needed them for about 100 million or something. Something ridiculous. And when the Catholic University and the University of Chile started making mechanical respirators, fully functional, identical to the ones they purchased, with recycled items, and for 1 cent of the price of the ones they had purchased, they were sued. Raymond, that's like Vanguard. Okay, after the CEO was killed by Luigi Mangione, the company started putting forward more, like, claims and, like, going through with more claims. And Vanguard is actually in the process of suing the company for giving too much aid to these people and wasting their money and arguing a fiduciary responsibility. They really are. Yeah. Patent laws are all bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. There are patent laws and, like, environmental laws in Canada, and I think in the United States as well, where you're not allowed to use your purchased and owned land for, like, electricity or gas. Or, like, anything like that, unless it's solar power. If you have a stream, you can't, like, set up, like, a hydro, like, electric thing with the stream in your yard, because it's considered stealing from the electric companies. Isn't that fucked up? But they'll allow solar because they'll sell you the solar parts. They're all in it. It's a giant conglomerate of fucking bullshit. And eventually it's gonna fucking collapse. It could be 100 years, it could be 1,000 years, but eventually it's gonna collapse. I see why they would do that, not for the reason you said, though. Yep, well, there's tons of other reasons, too, right? Yeah, I've invented the idea of using a river to generate electricity, so if you want to do that, then pay me. It's not even that. The government won't even let you pay. They just won't let you do it. Because it's stealing. At least in Canada, as far as I know. At least in BC. Because the person I worked for, I did gardening for, had like this massive stream that went through his land. And I always asked him if he wanted to switch over to that. And he's like, it's not even legal to do that. Because he had power lines. And I was like, well, why don't you just get like a automated generator from the stream? And he's like, oh, that's illegal. I think it may be a ownership of water thing as well. Like in my country, the rivers are private. Yeah, sounds about right, Raymond. They control fucking everything. Dudes own the rivers and lakes. Yup. Yup, it's a fucked up world we live in, Raymond. It's a fucked up corporate world we live in. The future is not... Guys, the future is not governments. The future is corporations. It's going to happen. It's already happening. Governments are fucking corporations. But it's going to get worse. 7 families own the sea. Oh, I believe it. 100%. Like, I'm not very much knowledgeable on that kind of stuff, but I 100% instantly fucking believe it. Don't need no evidence, don't need no shit. I fucking believe it. Before we get too far ahead, I'm learning here that people like having discussions and that maybe I should incorporate that in my streams. I mean, it depends on the angle that you're going for, Callie. Like, my thing is I want to create a think tank type situation where discussion of ideas is freely, openly exchanged. No topics are held back, except one, and we all know what that is. Other than that, pretty much everything else goes. And I want to facilitate a community that's encouraging people to talk about topics that people would otherwise be berated for. And since it's a writing community, it's people that understand that there's a separation between reality and ideology, and that this is not a pressing of ideology. It is a simple understanding that this is how creativity and ideas work, and all things are created through ideas, and by talking about exchanging ideas, you can truly change the world by starting a conversation. And I think conversing with people is the most powerful trait that humans have. It's the most powerful trait any being has, is the ability to communicate. And I think we're like, the powers that be are slowly trying to eliminate our ability to communicate. Which is what they're doing with like the whole online censorship that's happening now. Raymond was in one of my streams. I don't know what my thing would be. I was just told by a few people that I'm fun to listen to and charismatic. I mean, I'm told the same thing, Callie. So, you know, apparently it's working. So, you just have to have an idea, go along with the idea, build a environment, and appeal to an audience. Knowing your audience is super important for building an audience. If you don't know what kind of audience you're building, you don't know what kind of audience you're searching for, you don't know what kind of things will attract and connect to that audience and how to improve those and focus on those, right? And mine's working on communication overall and being able to relay my ideas and my thought processes and my perspective towards people. The fact that it took me almost an hour for people to be like, okay, now everything's coming together, for me is like, it's a good thing and a bad thing, because it's a massive, complex, insane topic that we're talking about. So in order to break it down over an hour, I think is actually kind of impressive, but still, being able to break it down in a paragraph is like magnificent. That's what I want to be able to do. I just want to, you know, someone pops in, what are we talking about? I'm like, boom, boom, boom. They're like, okay, I understand. I can join the conversation. And my community is into eugenics, so yeah. If eugenics, Raymond, means that I'm only mating with myself because I take a copy of myself, I turn it into an AI waifu, I put it into an AI waifu robot, and now I'm dating myself and procreating with myself, and it uses my own genome structure, but not in a way that's like self-cessed. Yes, but not in a way that's debilitating to DNA. So it like understands how to like not degrade the DNA through and not clone through like reproduction. Still highly dysgenic. Yes, Levi, very much so. I never said at any point that this was leading towards a utopia and was in any way 100% a positive for humanity. It is simply positing the question and looking at what the graph says for the percentage, right? Where do the lines point for our cultural perspective towards this? And how can we evaluate that and say, why do we believe what we believe? Because fundamentally, that is what I want people to, in asking the questions I ask, I want people to fundamentally ask the question, why do I believe what I believe? Why is my perception the way that it is? Government mandates are pretty much the line for most things. True, Beezus. But remember that the line is always being continuously pushed. So look at things right now where the government isn't doing anything with online ID. So companies are starting to do their own thing with online ID ahead of government mandates so they don't get caught in the crossfire and completely fucked. Like, the newest thing I heard is that you can't use the Nvidia app in the EU without being 18. Because it connects to the internet. And anything connected to the internet requires ID. I'm sure it's like bullshit in its own way, with a bunch of nuance, but again, extrapolation and implementation are scary thoughts. The fact that it can be done is fucking scary. Technical hurdles and risks. Before we get too far ahead, it's worth noting... Oh, wait, we should wait for the ad break. We're going to hit an ad break in like 2 seconds here, guys. Wait, I found something! Ad break! Fuck, my phone's gonna die. Ads! Fuck ads. Ads! I just see you like screaming at the cat. Never mind, I'm back. Yeah, I was like... Ads! Just to, you know. Just cuz. I should have like a random... I should have like an ads command. And it should be like something to do for 30 seconds or a minute and a half during ads. Guys, what do you think about that? Adding an ads command? That it like picks like some sort of random command or something like that? Posted in Discord? Alright, screaming at the top of your lungs. Well, I was kind of trying to do like Super Saiyan, but with like a fucked up face. And it was like, ooh, I just hit Super Saiyan. Ooh, damn. All right, Callie. Let's see what you have to say.
Thinking of doing one of those DNA testing kits.
What? Why?
I'm obviously white, but I think it might be cool to know what my mix is.
Just be variations of European.
Yeah, okay, yes, okay. I mean, obviously Grandpa is Belgian, but like, my dad and your dad look very different and they're brothers. So I'm saying there might be a little something extra in the mix. Also, my mom is super Eastern European, but supposedly we're not even originally from Ukraine.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea.
Why? I think it would be cool.
No, it's not cool. I don't believe in it.
You don't think it's legit?
No. Because, like, what if it says that you're part Cherokee?
Well, then it would be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Okay, but it's not going to say that.
Well, you know that it's not going to say that, then why are you doing the test?
Because I think it would be cool to know what my mix... I feel like this is not a ridiculous want.
No, it is. It's stupid.
Why?
Well, it is just dumb, and also, like, let's just say, hypothetically speaking.
Okay.
Totally hypothetically. Mm-hmm. Let's say someone
Uh-oh.
committed the perfect crime.
Oh, okay.
And it goes off without a hitch, and they get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then 15 years later, their dumb cousin goes and does some DNA testing kit, and then their DNA is in the system, okay? And then this case that has been cold gets broken wide open because there's a match.
Well, wouldn't that be a good thing?
No, it was the perfect murder.
No murder is perfect.
This one was, okay? The crime scene was spotless, the witnesses led nowhere, the motive was never understood. It was perfect.
I mean, it can't have been the perfect murder if there was DNA left behind.
Oh my God, it was one hair. Do you have any idea how hard it is to wipe every single surface of every single fingerprint, clean up all of the blood, especially after a struggle, which I'm told is probably the best part, I'm told?
I mean, no, I don't, but you're the one who's saying it's a perfect murder, and I'm saying, no, it couldn't have been perfect if there was a hair left behind to DNA match.
You don't get it, okay? 15 years and this thing's been cold. 15 years is an incredible feat. And then this dumb ass cousin is just gonna ruin it all because they want to figure out if they're a little bit Ukrainian and a little bit Belgian and a little bit Scottish.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't say I thought I was Scottish. Do you think we're Scottish?
I don't care.
Okay, well, I'm probably still gonna do the kit.
No, don't.
I'm gonna do it.
Don't make me do something I don't want to do.
What? What did you just say?
Don't make me do something I don't want to do. You know, Monica, I really liked you. It's too bad. You were one of my favorites.
What is going on here?
That's pretty good, Callie.
After 50
That's pretty good, Callie. You're right, Levi. I didn't read your joke. I am so sorry, Levi. I feel like a piece of shit. Well, I know I'm a piece of shit, but I feel like even more of a piece of shit. Hold on, let me bring this up. Okay, here's the joke. Big orange head joke. Man walks into a bar. As he's ordering a beer, he happens to glance down towards the other end of the bar and see a man with a big orange head. So the bartender brings his beer. The man asks him, "What's with the guy with the big orange head?" Bartender chuckles. "Yeah, he says that's a hell of a story, all right. Why don't you go buy him a drink and maybe he'll tell you about it?" So the man walks over. I guess I can close this off now. YouTube shorts are addicting. I mean, some of them are really good, Callie. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them are really good. I got banned on TikTok for mine. I used to have a TikTok account way back in the day. And I did like fucked up shorts and shit, but I got banned for having a dildo in one of my scenes. Cuz it was when you forget to clean up your room during a work interview and there's like the tip of the head of a dildo sticking out of like, you know, the corner of the thing. Which is kind of funny because like last year or whatever there was an interview with some chick on something on CNN or something and she had like a dildo on her bookshelf. So it's like it fucking happens, guys. But yeah, I got banned for it. It is what it is. That was like this, like every time I started, this is my problem, guys. This was my experience with content creation. I created an AMV. It got 16,000 views in like a week, and then it got taken down and banned because it had like copyright content. And I was like, oh, that's why there's no good AMVs. So then I went on TikTok, made a bunch of random TikToks, got like a couple thousand views on all of them, and then my account got fucking deleted because I went too far with a joke. So then I was like, fuck it. But hey, guess what, guys? We've made it a year into streaming. Over a year into streaming. And we haven't been banned yet. So that tells you something about streaming. Right? And I haven't changed the content. I'll tell you that. The content hasn't changed. The content's just gotten better. But it's the same fucked up shit, only in story format instead of, like, TikTok shorts of me, like, acting stuff out and shit like that. Just, like, little tiny, like, you know, like, the idea of, like, what's the word? Like a 4-section skit, you know? Like 4-slide skit. A 4-slide skit. Or like a cartoon or something like that. Anyways. So the man walks... Oh, shit. So the man walks over... So the man walks over to the guy with the orange head, introduces himself, and offers to buy him a beer. The guy with the orange head says, let me guess, you want to hear about the head? First guy says, well, yeah, if you don't mind. Man with the orange head says, alright, Lord knows I've run it over in my mind a million times. Anyways, so it's like this. One day I was walking on the beach when I stubbed my toe on something. I looked down and there sticking out of the sand was an ancient antique lamp. So I picked it up and brushed away some of the sand when a big cloud of blue smoke erupted from it. When the smoke cleared, a genie was standing there, and this genie said to me, thank you for freeing me from my 5,000-year confinement. For doing this, I'll grant you 2 wishes. So I think, wow, okay. And I do what many people would. For my first wish, I wish to be financially wealthy. So the genie snaps his fingers and suddenly I'm covered in jewels. Hundreds of necklaces, 3 rings per finger, a crown on my head, and a chest full of gold next to me besides that. At this point in the story, the first man is amazed. He just can't believe what he's hearing, eager to hear the rest. He says, so, what was your second wish? The man with the orange head slowly takes a sip of his beer. He puts it down and says, you know, this may be where I went wrong. I wished for a big orange head. I don't get it, Levi. Is it supposed to just be so ridiculous? I don't get it. I don't get it, guys! Is it just like ridiculous satire? Like, I'm trying to think what like was he talking about his dick? Like, I don't fucking understand. It's kind of an anti-joke. It's about how people have everything they want and then they just choose to ruin it. I mean, fair enough, yeah. Yeah, I like the satire. Alright, so is it a step toward eugenics? Here's the bottom line. The research itself, no, it's not eugenics. It's a scientific exploration of a therapeutic tool, not a campaign to reshape humanity's gene pool. The intent is medical, not ideological, and it's not being imposed on anyone. Potential future use. Yes, it could become a step towards eugenics if taken to extremes, like mandating and applying it prenatally to prevent Down syndrome or using it to enforce a narrow vision of genetic perfection. That would depend on how society and policymakers wield technology. Japan's work with CRISPR to target Down syndrome is groundbreaking, but it's not about vaccines or mandates. It's about possibility. It challenges us to think about where we draw the line between healing and engineering. You know, like when men cheat on their wife with someone much less attractive? True, Levi, and it's like my favorite joke. 3 guys walked into a bar. You think one of them would have noticed. And I was actually thinking, you know what's an even better way to say it in this context? Is a guy walked into 3 bars. You think he would have noticed. It's a question for science, ethics, and all of us to wrestle with as this technology evolves. What do you think? Where should that line be? Okay, wait. So now we have a channel for shorts and videos, or we keep leaving the link here on chat. The thing is, if we're not on stream, Raymond, and you want me to see stuff, there's a bunch of stuff here that people have posted. I've been meaning to go through this, so do you guys want to go through this? Because there's like a lot of stuff on here that we could go through. I just haven't really done, and this is back in like, yeah, this was like a week ago or so. We watched that one. I think we watched that one. We watched that one. I think we watched that one. I don't think we watched this one. So let's bring these up. So we got this one.
Did you really think the full frontal nudity scene was necessary?
Yes, I did. I felt it was integral to the character's story arc.
But it was your body. And you're my professor, and you said that if I came, I would get extra credit.
Well, did you?
Oh, what do you mean?
What the hell?
What's happening?
You did not.
Did you really think the full frontal nudity scene was necessary?
All right, that's fucking funny. Film school is great, man. There's another one. Okay, hold on. I didn't mean to actually watch it. I just wanted to bring them up, but it was just because I was automatically on it. Hold on. Oh, I guess they're just gonna come up.
I like chocolate. Delicious. Yeah.
Do you say this because I'm black?
Yeah. Me rice your chicken. Perfect. I like chocolate. Delicious.
It's like this is the perfect racism because it's not intentional. It's like, oh, you're black. I love chocolate. Chocolate's black.
Me rice your chicken.
And she even refers to herself. So she's not. It's just like a cultural thing, right? I find that fucking hilarious. The Riz-ism. Yeah. It's like racism, but it's Riz. I love that. Okay, what's this? Oh god, I think I know exactly what this is gonna be. Wait, this is a 12-minute video. I thought it was gonna be like a compilation of people like fucking up forklifts, but this looks like I don't know why that's in there. We'll watch the first minute, guys. Watch the first minute.
Forklifts are widely used to improve the efficiency of logistical distribution systems. However, this convenient transporting machine may be the cause of serious accidents or casualties if used incorrectly. In order to prevent accidents and/or casualties, basic operation of the counterbalance forklift is explained in this video.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, no, we'll go through the first a little bit. Okay. Getting off and on.
Before starting any operation with a forklift, ensure the forks are in the proper safe position in accordance with the load or type of pallet to be handled. The recommended width between the forks is 1/2 to 3/4 of the width of the pallet. When adjusting the position of the forks, place them symmetrically to the center of the forklift. Take extra care to protect hands and fingers from becoming caught in the forks.
Okay. When's the forklift certification stream? Hey man, I was forklift certified when I was working at the mill. Okay, so what's next?
English names that sound funny to Mandarin speakers. Robin, 裸奔, running naked. Robinson, 裸奔神, god of running naked. Nelson, 尿神, god of pee. Benson, 笨神, god of dump. Mason, 美神, god of beauty. Nicholas, 你抠死了, you're so stingy. Isabella, 医生被拉, the doctor got arrested. Dylan, 低能, low IQ. Nancy, 难死, difficult to die. Robert, 萝卜, carrot. Ashley, 熬死你, wear you down to death. Logan, 脑梗, brain stroke. Tiffany, Tiffany, kick your ass. Martha, 麻花, fried dough twist. Jeff, 姐夫, brother-in-law. Daniel, 大牛, big shot. Gordon, 狗蛋, dog boss. Melanie, 没人理, nobody cares. English names that sound funny to Mandarin speakers.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. What's this one?
I think I'm doing one of those DNA testing hits.
That's the one we watched. Okay, so this one. Okay, so we'll finish this, and then we'll watch that one. Okay. Where should the line be drawn? This is the question. The question becomes, in the future, what are the chances that... Wait until those Mandarin speakers find out what Wang means in English. Yeah, see, it goes both ways, Levi. It's very true. The question becomes, in the future, what are the chances that genetic perfection through genetic engineering... No, Smokey, we haven't even started on part 2 of the novel. Gaming will start around hours 5.5 to hour 6. Does that make sense, Smokey? And we are at hour 3. So we got like 2.5 or 3 more hours. No, it doesn't make sense? Okay, we'll just sit here and ponder that while we wait, okay? Through genetic engineering to a point where parents can decide what hair and eye color their children have, even if this becomes socially and culturally prominent and acceptable. Hey Rick, how's it going?
Thank you for redeeming chair dance.
True, Smokey.
Will now dance for
I'm
you.
just rethinking how I'm gonna
Please
word
fully
this.
Enjoy this immersive experience.
We're just gonna ignore that. That's not even a good argument. I'm retarded. That's not even a good argument. To a point where all genetic disease is removed from the genome.
Keep dancing, bitch. It ain't over yet.
More writing, I see. Also good. Yes, we're talking about eugenics. Or very much. Thank you. Thank you for the redeem, Smokey. You are very much keeping up with it. But you know what? I told you, good sir. If you press the redeem, we have to start over. Okay, good sir. Are you still in the parking lot of the Walmart? Okay, this is what you need to do for me, sir. You need to go inside and you need to buy an Apple gift card. Okay, it needs to be for over $500. That is what the deposit fee is. You might want to get one for $800 because Sometimes there are extra fees that cause it, so it could not work out very well. So what we do is you go get that, and then you come back and remember, do not redeem. Do not redeem. Do not redeem. You just redeemed, and now we have to go through the process again. So you may lose your money now because you redeemed. So you used it on the card instead of giving it to me, and then I can use it to unlock the money that we can send to your account, right? 12 o'clock? I do not know, Smokey. What time is it now? Game time. It is game time. You are game time. I will game time your time, good sir. Don't worry about it. It is a good go. You are a no, sir. Not how it goes. You are gay time. Oh, I'll gay time your gay time. Okay, Smokey. I don't know why, but it is not going back. So it is okay.
Go back to normal, bitch.
Oh, there it
this
is.
Shit-ass accent is killing me.
True. To a point where all genetic disease is removed from the genome. Alzheimer's and what's the other one? Any form of dementia, or I feel like you have a future in the world of scams. I told you, Raymond, no one would ever be able to find me because everyone would be looking for a brown guy. It's super 5-head, bro. From the genome, Alzheimer's, and any form of dementia or Parkinson's, Huntington's, and so on. It is all government mandated and accepted by society to improve the genetic structure of humanity. Would this still be eugenics even without the negative reception from the public? There's one other thing I was going to mention. Guys, I'm trolleyed now. Alright, Callie, what do you mean by you're trolleyed now? Or like you're troll-eyed? Are you troll-eyed? It's a roll. Oh, on Discord. Oh, I see what you mean. You've moved up in the world. Hell yeah, Callie. You've gone from intoxicated to trolleyed. Negative reception from the public. There was one other thing. It's mandated by the government. Oh, but contains no real ideological foundation other than the improvement of quality of life. Okay, let's see what it says. See what it says, guys. This is the big one. This is the, like, foundational, put it all together, we got this, the final moment of bringing it all back, right? This is why I love doing these commentaries, because it gives a good way to, like, enter into an elongated discussion. Which is why I try not to do them every day, unless we're doing, like, a really long stream. Like, if I work early, then I'm like, we're only doing, like, a 4-hour stream. I'd rather put efforts into other areas. but still entice out the entire idea behind it, right? Yes, a future where genetic engineering eliminates all genetic diseases such as Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, and Huntington's through government-mandated programs accepted by society would still be considered eugenics, even if it lacks negative public reception and an ideological foundation beyond improving quality of life. What is eugenics? Eugenics is the practice of deliberately improving the genetic quality of a human population through interventions like selective breeding or genetic engineering. Historically, it's been associated with controversial and unethical practices such as forced sterilization or racial purity campaigns. However, at its core, eugenics is defined by the act of controlling or manipulating genetics to achieve a desired outcome.
Style, you say. More. Hello, my friend who is a whore.
Bomb dropper! Yo, what's up, bro? Welcome. Fuck yeah, bro. We're talking about eugenics today. We're almost done the discussion and we're going to be moving on soon. But yeah, good to see you, good sir. How are you? How was your day? What are you up to? Historically, it's been associated... Okay, eugenics is defined, okay, not by public perception or intent. Does the scenario fit the definition? In your described future, genetic engineering is used to remove all genetic diseases from the human genome. It's government mandated, meaning the state enforces this change across the population. Sorry for being late. That's okay, Bomb Dropper. It's a longer stream today. We got lots of plans today. This was one of them, and we've been doing this for like what, an hour? An hour and a half? The React was pretty like basic today, I'd say. Society accepts it, and the goal is to improve humanity's genetic structure for better quality of life. This aligns with eugenics because it involves systematic intentional intervention in the human gene pool to enhance it. The specific aim, eliminating diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, may be benevolent and lack the negative reception or ideological motives like racial superiority sets it apart from historical abuses, but the method and purpose still match eugenics, a deliberate effort to shape humanity's genetic future. Guys, I'm gonna say it might be a hot take. Eugenics is good. I fucking said it. Clip it, guys. Fucking clip it. Yeah, it won't let me clip. Let's put that one on kick there. I mean, there it is, man. Eugenics is good. Does public acceptance or intent change it? No, eugenics isn't defined by whether people approve of it or by the presence of malicious intent. A government enforcing genetic changes to perfect the population fits the concept, regardless of how it's received. The focus on quality of life as the sole motivation makes it a more neutral or positive form of eugenics, but it doesn't remove it from the category. Positive eugenics. It's still about control over genetics, not just individual choice. Ethical considerations. Was the poem in the morning good? Poem? Bomb Dropper? Oh, the one that me and you wrote? Or the one, like, do you mean earlier? Well, because morning to me is, like, after last stream. So, like, 18 hours ago. Whereas if you mean morning... Yeah, Brainwash, which was, like, earlier today. It's only 3:30 in the morning for me, so it would have been, like, tonight. So it's just the time differential, Bomb Dropper. That's why I was wondering if you meant, like, yesterday. The ones we worked on yesterday, not today. Yeah. Sweet. Well, not directly asked, it's worth noting some implications. Mandate versus choice. If it's mandatory, what happens to those who refuse? Lack of consent could mirror past eugenics controversies. See, now it's adding nuance. I like this. I like this. Defining perfection. Eliminating diseases seems clear-cut, but who decides what else might be undesirable? This could slide into broader genetic standardization. Genetic diversity. Over-editing the genome might reduce diversity, which is vital for human resilience against future challenges. True. That's probably, like, one of the biggest advocates against, like, the genetic manipulation that we're doing is what we've done to crops. And how we've, like, kind of, like, fucked, like, a lot of crops. To the point that most of the manufactured crops, like, we have to make a distinction here, guys, between actual vegetables and actual fruits, by definition. So, a vegetable is the seed of the plant. A fruit has the seeds of the plant inside of it. So things like peppers, tomatoes, you know, watermelon, like, I'm thinking more non-specifically, like vegetable fruits, right? Actual vagina or artificial vagina? Exactly, Bomb Dropper, you never know. And does it really matter as long as it feels like a vagina? Hey, if you never felt a vagina, do you even know what a vagina feels like? What happens if it feels better than a vagina because it vibrates? Man, the questions of our fucking generation, man. This world is fucking crazy. It's insane. But yeah, what happens when you get to that level of engineering when you have actual forced conformity of the genetic code? You are a good question. Why, thank you, Bomb Dropper. I try to be the best question I can be. You know, not all of us are great questions, but I try to make sure that my question is fluid. My question is, prepared. It is virtual vagina, like in the Matrix, the woman in the red dress. Am I right, guys? Seinfeld laugh track. True, Raymond. I mean, there you go. That's what it's all about. And think about this, Raymond Dow. I've asked this question before, but hey, guys. Do you require physical stimulation to arrive at orgasm? That's a tough one. Guys, I don't know about that one. Do you require physical stimulation in order to reach orgasm? Woman once orgasmed in a lucid dream she was having. Buddhist monks do a type of meditation where they nut. It's called a wet dream for a reason. So there can be... It's all in your mind. It's all in your mind. That is how powerful your mind is. So if your mind believes that it's real, it'll make it real. Does that make sense? But yeah, change, like the only reason I would ever think that anyone should ever be against genetic manipulation is the fact of like things that'll happen in the future, not for any moral or ethical like current reason. You don't need physical stimulation. Yeah, exactly. Nut at will would be such a power move. True, Raymond. That's what my mistress is training me for. Then we don't need, you know, it's like, we don't need to get into that. Never mind. Yes, this would still be eugenics. It's a government-driven, systematic effort to improve the human population's genetic makeup by eliminating diseases, fitting the definition regardless of its positive framing or social appearance. The absence of ideology beyond quality of life and the lack of public backlash don't alter the fundamental nature of the practice. It's about intentionally engineering humanity's gene pool. Whether this form of eugenics is ethical or beneficial depends on how it's implemented, but it remains eugenics nonetheless. Thank you for the analysis and insight. I agree with you, but I always have two stances. One normalized, one extreme, and for each, a theoretical existence and a realistic existence, and how to play those off each other. I always appreciate your input. We will see you soon. True, I love complimenting AI, guys. Kind of mid-ray. Like, imagine you get into a fight and nut to the eyes have opened move. Huge opening move. That move is kind of mid-twitch guy. Twitch guy. I think you meant to say Twitch guy. Wouldn't you beat him into the ground, Raymond, and then nut on him after you beat him into the ground? Wouldn't that be better? GPB! Yo, yo, yo! How's it going, bro? You're welcome. It's always a pleasure to dive into these topics with you. I'm glad you found the analysis and insight helpful. And it's great to hear that you agree. Your approach to exploring ideas is really fascinating, and you've got this cool method of balancing two stances, one normalized and one extreme, each with both a theoretical existence and realistic existence. Playing those off each other must give you some amazing perspectives, letting you see the full spectrum of possibilities in a thoughtful and creative way. I always appreciate your input too. It makes these discussions so much more interesting. Looking forward to our next conversation, whether it's just you or the whole crew tagging along until he knows that I'm streaming, guys. I love it. Yeah, I nut super hard. Break his bones. It's like the Hancock scene. Give me a word, I'm itching for a poem. Iridescent.
Iridescent.